Testing, testing, testing. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Testing. Okay, so it's a little quiet, I'd say. It should be better now. Maybe even more. Let's see. How's this? Now this. Let's do that. That's pretty good. Okay, cool. Recording top right. Okay, so this should still be working, right? Nice. Okay, that's cool. Let's see. OBS only recording top left. Let's click this, see what's up. Yeah, that looks like what's happening to me right now. And F. There we go. Hey, nice. Okay, okay. Let's see. Virtual camera not installed. What is virtual camera? How to overlay video. Oh yeah, looking much nicer now. What's that? Hey Gary, how's it going? I'm just learning about this overlay stuff. Free monochrome Twitch overlays. How's it going? How's your day? Thanks. I just learned how to do the front camera just a second ago, actually. Well, I appreciate you popping in. That's very kind. Let Marco know though if he wants to come by. I'd love to say hi to him. Which one of these do you think looks better, by the way, for the overlays? Yeah, I think so too. It kind of looks nice. A lot of things here to use too. It says it's free in the Discord as well. Whoa. Oh, there's animations to this. No way. Let's take a look at this. Really? What does this look like animated? Oh my goodness. Look at that. That is crazy. That's so professional and it's so worth it too. $6? That's pretty cheap. Oh my goodness. Such an ecosystem. I didn't even know most of this existed. Yeah, I know. It's like, can you imagine all this work for $6? There can't be that many people using it. This guy's not making any money on this. Yeah, I'd pay the full price on this. What the hell? GGG. Okay. Well, it looks like to me like you can configure all this so that like some of these like look like pull-ups on the side and you can click them or something like that. The different chat box sizes. So I guess like you just build your scene and you just put it somewhere on your screen and whatnot as through OBS. But man, you'd need a super strong GPU to be able to do some of this stuff. It's yeah, kind of intense. Thankfully, I'm running this on a MacBook. MacBook has a pretty decent integrated GPU, way better than any of like the laptops out there. Um, but yeah, we'll see. I think I do like this the most, actually. Which one did I choose? Was this one? Yeah, do like this the most. It's good. Yeah. All right, let's see. Free version in the Discord, and later on, I'm gonna save this link here so that I can hold on to this. Yeah, I'm gonna hold on to this for later. I got a whole new branding folder here going on. I'm gonna call this Twitch overlays over here. I if you take a look at my Twitch thing, um, on Twitch TV, I made my shit. It's not the one I wanted. Here we go. This is the one. I got all this like stuff here on my channel where it has like my icon and all that. That's all AI generated. I got like the whole other part too with the waves and all that. That's all AI generated. There's really good AI stuff these days. Like this is the one I used, Recraft AI. Like an amazing. Um, yeah. Oh, we got some more people coming in. Nice, nice, nice. Welcome, welcome. This is me just setting up OBS and then hopefully getting started on this Next.js um, project. I'm really looking forward to it. Um, okay, I want to save this for now. Get coding here because I do have this project that I want to complete today. So basically, all I'm going to be doing is making a to-do application this week, and then next week I'm going to be making it more of like an expansion of the scope of it um, into some higher level application. But for now, like this is totally fine. Um, just a simple to-do application to get started here. Okay, let's put Twitch overlays. Link and save. Great. And let's make a new window default profile. Nice. Okay. Yeah, I think this is good enough for now, though. I don't think I need anything more complicated than this. Let's open up into Documents, GitHub, make a new directory here. GitHub repo create, and we'll name this NextJS to do. Description, simple, Next.js, Postgres, SQL, and Tailwind to do application. Let's disable issues on it. I'm not gonna fix your issues. There's no wiki. Um, let's make it public. Thanks. Thanks for coming in, Gary. Um, okay, let's make it public. That should be all we need. All right. GitHub repo clone Next.js to do. Let's get started. cd Next.js to do. All right, like with every project, let's start a README here. We'll call this Next.js to do. And classic Big Bang. I love putting this Big Bang thing whenever I start my new projects. I found this while just screwing around online once and going through people's like GitHub pages. I always did the initial commit because that's what GitHub tells you to do, right? When you create a new project, you always say, I'm just going to create an initial commit and whatnot. But I found this one person and they said Big Bang. And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. So it came out of nothing. You started the project from nothing. We'll always have a Big Bang and then we'll continue the conventional commit syntax afterwards. Not like there's any delta that's actually going to happen in that first commit anyways. Okay. Shit, how am I gonna set this up? Guess probably useful to figure out how Next.js is laid out. Let's create a new private tab here. See how Next.js lays its stuff out. Next.js app structure. What is with this? Oh my God. You don't need that many environment files. You only need one. You don't even commit any of these. Why would you need that many of that? Middleware TS. There's got to be something like a get started one here somewhere. Let's open up ChatGPT. I'm looking. Let's see here. I am starting a Next.js project. Is there something like pm create app for Next.js that I can use? I want to use Postgres as my backend and React as the front end with Tailwind. Yeah, obviously. Yeah, seems about right. Install additional dependencies. Prisma. Uh, yeah, I guess. Yeah. I used Prisma back in the day. I don't really use it these days because um, there's not really any point in it. Most of my backends are mostly in Golang and C sharp at work, so never really need to use Prisma. And honestly, when I'm doing Python backends, fuck it, I'll just write straight to the JSON file. I don't give a shit. Um, so what is Next.js? Is it literally just a version of React.js that just runs server side? I guess so. Also, I doubt that this is correct anymore because I'm pretty sure Tailwind 4 just got released and came out of beta. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what ended up happening. All right, let's run that command. Pm create app. What was it? Next app at latest. Pm create next app at latest. Ah, fuck you. Oh, come on. Okay. Yes, I would like TypeScript. Yes, I would like isn't. Yes. How would I not want it in a source directory? Yeah, sure. What's TurboPack? TurboPack. TurboPack is an incremental bundler optimized for JavaScript, TypeScript, written in Rust, and built into Next.js. TurboPack can be used in Next.js in both the pages and app directories for faster local development. To enable TurboPack, use the TurboPack flag when running in the Next.js development server. Uh, so it's basically just Webpack. Okay. Yeah, sure. Why not? Would you like? No. What is my Node.js version right now? Node version. Fuck me. Oh, Christ. ASDF local Node.js 2210 0. There. Ah, fuck. ASDF local. There we go. PNPM version. What's in that file? Cat tool versions. Yeah, but if I don't have that there, it's not going to use that version of. So if I remove this, remove dot tool version, and then I just set a pm version and JS version. Yeah, see, it's going to revert to the old version. Hmm. Okay, let's go out. Let's do ASDF local Node.js 22.11.10. Then we do it as npm create into NextJS to do. Yes, 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 yes. No. Great. Get scam, motherfucker. There we go. Alright, and then we just move tool versions into that folder. What a dumb CLI that would require me not to have any files in there. Svelte never asked that. Okay. We're gonna do a chore. Use node 22, and then let's just give a quick through this README. This is a Node.js project, our Next.js project, bootstrapped, first run, yarn dev. Okay, pm dev. Let's see what happens here. Localhost 3000. What do we got? Damn, that looks actually really clean. That looks much cleaner than what React uses. A lot cleaner. Next.js now collects completely anonymous telemetry regarding usage. This is gonna. Okay, I don't want you to use telemetry on those. Next.js org telemetry. Opt out. Okay. pm exec next telemetry disable. At least they give you a warning about it, but that's so dumb that you have to manually go and do that. Okay, this project uses Next Font, a new font family from Vercel. It's a nice monospace font. It's alright. Hey, how's it going? Yeah, it's going. It's going. It's been fun. Kind of just talking to myself in the void here sometimes, but well, people pop in, say hi, that keeps me going. Okay, let's see. Um, to learn about Next.js, look at the following resources. Okay, that's probably where we should start. Next.js org docs, Next.js org learn. You can check out the Next.js GitHub and feedback to play on Vercel. Okay, cool. Let's see what Vercel's about. Vercel.com new. Pretty sure this is just so you can host your project after. Yeah, yeah, I thought so. Okay, we'll do that at the end. That's good to keep in mind. All right, let's go here, remove that. Yeah, we'll start with the blank readme that we had there. Yeah, and then we'll just commit all this and we'll say chore start project created using pm create NextJS app at latest. There we go. Push that up. Good. Okay. So, first things first, we'll probably want to integrate. Let's just see how this page is actually laid out. So there's two main files I can see here. There's a layout.tsx and a page.tsx. Metadata Geist. Okay, so they're using that Geist font from Google. Heard about this. This is a nice font, actually. One of my favorite ones. Also, I really like PT Serif. Fantastic font, by the way. Fantastic font. Um, anyway, Roboto and Nodo are very good too. Um, you got metadata, create next app, Geist mono. Okay. So they've repackaged Google's fonts into these classes and they're sending it out. All right. You got a root layout. That just React. Okay. Let's go to the web page, which was here. Don't need TurboPack anymore. I'm gonna take a look at the web page contents to see how this is being rendered. Okay, so all right, they have Tailwind already installed here, and then they custom selecting the font through there. Weird that they did like that. There's actually better ways to do it. Um, it's auto darking it, which is a new feature in Tailwind. Or sorry, it wasn't Tailwind 3.0, it's not a new feature. What's the marker thing they're talking about? Let's bring this to the side and see what this means. Ah, you don't say. Hey, okay. It's custom rendered? That's weird. That's odd. Okay. Why would you not just use the browser's version of that? I hate that. Okay, classic image and then text. You got your footer here. Okay. Let's see if we can find those things here. So the layout probably is similar to layout.svelte.js that I know about. So you have your layout, then you have your pages, which is what it looks like to be here. I wonder if you still have to use page.tsx or if you can use different names. That's one of the gripes that I don't know. See, a lot of people used Svelte, and I still use Svelte, but I also use Vue.js as well. Svelte has this weird thing where your layouts of your folders here are the routes in the path that show up. So if you have like a folder here called, I don't know, uh, apples, and then you had a page.tsx here in that apples folder. When you go to slash apple, that's what it was showed up here. And it just kind of makes it like as like an auto router kind of thing. And there's like more flexibilities to it. It's a different way of thinking than something like Vue, where you custom render every component with a router. So you have to use something like a Vue router to do that. I wonder if this is because they need to do this for server-side rendering. I wonder. Because isn't that's the whole point of all this, I think. I think that's the whole point of Next.js rather than using React was they wanted to move away from SPAs, the single page apps, to server-side render apps so that they could get better SEO and better load times because the client might not be as strong to load some of these things in itself. Yeah, you can clearly see some of the references there. So for example, this part here on line 31, rel no opener no refer basically just says to a search engine, like a crawler, like a robot crawler that visits your webpage, that, hey, if I see this link, I shouldn't follow this link down. This is going out of the origin. And you actually get penalized with a lot of these SEO tools if you have a lot of these here because they don't know not to go down that rabbit hole and search all these other origin domains. So if you keep them on your website, they like that better. And then same with like submitting like a sitemap and all that. That's kind of the point of it, is that you just give it all to them so that they can properly index your website every once in a while. Um, I was doing some interview prep and that's what that came up, so I know that from that. Okay. Yeah, so I remember this class name stuff from React. Yeah, class name. Seems like an extraordinary amount of classes that they're using here just to get something simple done. But I guess it makes sense. It looks decent, actually. It looks pretty nice. So I'm not gonna complain too much about that. Okay, list decimal. Oh, no, really? It was Tailwind that was doing this. Okay. Yeah, so this marker stuff that comes from Tailwind actually doing that styling for us. BG black, half opacity. Actually, is Dark Reader on right now? Google. Fuck. Bloomberg is always on light mode. Burns my eyes out whenever I visit them. Yeah, no more retinas for me. Anyway, dark BG white. Oh, so this is probably getting it from my probably getting it from my system right now to know to render in darks. If I change this to red, I bet you it will come back up. PM dev. We just need to refresh this to hook it back in. Oh, interesting. Did not change it to red. BG blue? Excuse me? Oh, that's why. Fucking cunt. Alright. No, did not work. Okay. Let's do BG red 200 or 400. Is this not syncing or something? What am I changing? Am I dumb or something? Why is this not changing? What is this? Get started by editing. Yeah. So change the text of the color of the text. What the heck? Odd. Okay. Hmm. Okay, so this is a dark hover CCC, so I know that one for sure needs to change. We can change this to FF, sorry, F00. That'll make it pure red. There we go. Okay, pure red, like the blood. Make the blood boil. Okay, so I think I can pretty confidently remove all this. I just want to see where that footer stuff is. Oh, here it is. Yeah, I think I can remove this all pretty confidently, and not really worry about too much going on here. Um, yeah, let's rip out the footer. Let's rip out the main part of this here. We'll keep most of the other layout going on here. That's fine. And then here we'll just say hello world. Keep it PG. Hello world. What's up? Cool. All right, so that's down there. Do I need any of these now? Probably not. Delete that. Delete that. Okay. Let's delete SVGs. Not needed anymore. Was part of template. There we go. Okay, that sounds good. And let's go with that. Cool. All right. So the next thing that we need to do here is we need to get this running some sort of Prisma so that we can talk to our Postgres platform. Okay, so it says Tailwind, we've added that. Now we need to do Postgres. Sure, we'll use the ORM. pm add Postgres Prisma client. What's the PG package? npm JS package PG. Node Postgres. Non-blocking Postgres client, pure JavaScript and optional. Okay, let's take a look at it on Bundlephobia. Bundlephobia, Postgres. What was it called? PG. It's not too bad. A little slow. Um, oh, fuck it. This is a basic application. Why am I even caring? All right, pm add PG. What was the other one? Prisma that they wanted. Prisma, next generation ORM. Yeah, I've used this a couple times before, mostly with Mongoose instead of Mongoose using Prisma for interacting with MongoDB. Um, this was maybe like 2 years ago at this point. I haven't used really that much MongoDB since then. Um, I think the whole idea with this back then was that you don't have to write all like the Mongo like DB stuff, and you can switch between like your different backends as you needed. But there were it was similar to like Terraform, where you still need to do some stuff that's specific to the database that you're using, because some of them don't have other features that the other ones do. But in essence, if you did like do that slight adjustment, it's a lot less work to move between your databases than it would be to otherwise do it. Um, I don't really think that a lot of people move their databases, but hey, if they're gonna like generate a lot of this, the inserts and the upserts for me, sure, I appreciate it. So I think that's the whole point of using Prisma here is that it's gonna auto generate some of that for me. Um, and you got Prisma client, which I assume is just the CLI that you use to do this Prisma client. Prisma Client JS is an autogenous query builder that enables type-safe database accesses, reduces boilerplate. Huh, okay. Quick start. SQL migrations, Prisma migrate, add Prisma. 15 minutes? Ain't nobody got time for that. This is a hackathon project. We gotta get it going. We got shit to do. Place to be. Client. I got I'm using PMPM instead of NPM. Shit would be so slow with npm. Okay, npx prisma net. I'm pretty sure there's this pnpm dlx prisma and net. This pnpm's version of npx. Okay. Your Prisma schema was created in Prisma schema.prisma. You can open it in your favorite editor. You already have a git ignore file. Don't forget to add a .env in it, not to commit any private information. Set the database URL in the env file to point to your existing database. If your database has no tables yet, read this. Set the provider of, okay, guess we gotta read that. Pris.ly getting started. Getting started. As a next generation Node.js and TypeScript ORM that unlocks a new level of developer experience when working with databases thanks to Institutive Data Model. Helps you analyze queries, generate insights, and provides recommendations to make your database queries faster. It's a global database cache with scalable connection pooling. Make your queries fast. So even they recommend using Postgres. Interesting. Interesting. Oh, interesting. That's why they were using Postgres before, because it just naturally implements into Prisma. It seems like that's what they like to use even as well. Is this cockroach? No way. Ah, interesting. Um, okay. Well, what's the next steps, GPT son? Let's tell me the ways. All right, data source, Postgres, and setting to your database URL. Shit, I don't have a database going on right now, but I can make one. I can make one. Was it schema.prisma? Schema.prisma. Hey, it's already got it. Cool. Okay. Um, Probably shouldn't have done that. Do that like that. Let's see. Got Postgres SQL here. Just to add for add Prisma to project. Okay. So you got added Prisma, you got a database. So where's my dot get ignore? Okay, next env.d.ts Vercel env npm debug log your debug.pem, obviously very based of them to use lowercase letters here. Right. Fuck. Okay, it's all good. All good, no problems. All right. So next step here is to gotta add some sort of okay. So we got npx prisma generate. All right, let's do it. Didn't say we needed to run our server first, so what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? All right, npx prisma migrate dev name init. I don't need to run the migrations, do I? I don't even have anything in the database to begin with. Sure, go. Fuck the cook. Wait, pm dls. pm san. pm san. I don't use that communist MPX stuff. We use pm faster, supposedly. Ooh, okay. Cannot find generator. Why? Fed stats constructor is 12 sub-dependencies found. I don't know about that. But you know who does know? Who does know? GPT-san. Alright, GPT-san. I have a problem. I don't have the database running at the moment, but I want to run the Prisma stuff. Is that okay? Or do I need to already start with Docker to get an instance of Postgres running on my machine? This is the error I saw. That's cap. I definitely did install it. Um, I know I definitely have installed it. I literally just ran this. Yeah, done. That's exactly what I mean. There's nothing there. Okay. Initialize. Oh, that's why. Is that why? Is that why it failed? PNPM DLX. Oh, frick, I'm such an idiot. Please manual update with your database URL. But I don't have a database URL, so what do I do? Guess it's fine. Apply the migrations. As a next step, you can instantiate manage your data. Okay. PNPM DLX Prisma migrate dev name net. Okay, no, it failed. Okay. P yeah, DLX PNPM DLX Prisma generate. Okay, well that's a good sign. Means we have to actually get started on the well, we are making a to-do application. So I want you to help me to find the database for this. We need a password login field for the application that will then send us to the part where we can put in our to-dos in the list. For this, we'll need two tables. We will be hashing the passwords before sending them into the database. Good, good. Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. Auto the increment. Cool. Yeah, let's do it. What do we got here? So we have a model, a user. Let's take a look. Prisma docs. Um, yeah, here we go. I remember all of this from before. Um, Prisma syntax. Let's take a look at this. Prisma schema syntax. Yeah, I remember this. This is freaking gross. Because MongoDB has the hidden ID field that you have to use instead, and you have to map to that. Okay, and this is fine. Um, let's do ID default auto increment. Even back then, when I first started using Prisma, I did it almost entirely with GPT. It was GPT-3 back then, 2 years ago. Email. Well, fuck it. I don't need email. Username. Username string has to be unique, and then if it fails out, we can give them an error. It's saying that that was not a unique username. Too bad, so sad. You gotta create it at date time for your to do, which we won't need to update or say ourselves. We'll let the database calculate that for us. Then a updated time to say updated at. What does this updated at mean? Um, no way. That's interesting. Huh. That's interesting. I did not know that. Okay, let's search about that. Prisma updated at. Let's increment. Automatically stores the time when a record was last updated. If you not supply the time yourself, Prisma Client will automatically set the value for the fields for this attribute. That's cool. That's actually really cool. If you're using now, the time might differ from updated at if your database and app have different time zones. This happens because the updated at operates at the ORM, your app level, while now operates at the database level. Guess that makes sense. Something we keep in mind. Good thing for them to put a warning there. Yeah, that makes total sense. Um, Frankly, I don't give a shit though. All right. So then each user has a list of to-dos, which is just, and this is why I like Prisma, sort of. It has this like really nice structure to it that you can use. Like it's really intuitive that this is a list of to-dos that you use. Is there a formatter for Prisma? Prisma formatter. Let's take a look. Astro, Nvim, packs. There's probably something here with Prisma. There we go. Okay. Um, there we go. Add the Prisma back. So we have this in our ID. So if I screw around and I say something like that, are you gonna throw an error? Damn it, you didn't throw an error. Okay. What now? Hey, there we go. Okay, cool. Okay, perfect. And there we go. We got some auto formatting going on too. No way! It just auto created all this. That's cool. That's really cool. Okay, let's take a look at this. So now we have our model to do, which, yeah, it's automatically put like a users thing here, and I get it because like it's trying to link it to the user's model. We don't need that though. We just need int ID um, default auto increment. This is not a valid field or attribute. Why? Should be. Oh, it's because it doesn't have the user relation to it. There we go. So if I put this relation to the user, this should be what it wants. References ID. And then we just need to put a user ID here. User ID and the hell? What do you want from me? Well, and yeah, why would it not be? The ID? Do you not like ID? What if I did to do ID? Nope, it's not like it. How the hell not? That doesn't make any sense. That's literally the same thing I typed. Um, let's just comment that out and see what happens. So I got int ID default auto increment done. I was probably missing a brace at the end, wasn't I? Flippin' heck. Okay, title. Then the next thing that you want is a completed, and by default, when we create the inserts into here, it's going to be false. And then our created at will have that as date time defaulted to now, and then we'll have updated at as date time, and put that as updated at, which we just learned the feature in Prisma to tell the database to auto update. Okay, so that should do it for that, which means we should be able to do a Prisma generate, and it looks like it succeeded. Generated Prisma client. Start by importing your Prisma client. Okay. Add to do app database schema. There we go. Cool. All right. PNPM DLX Prisma H. Let's see what we got here. Okay, wants me to import the client. I don't know what that means. Prisly D importing client. Okay. Yeah, I don't actually know what happened here, but it is what it is. Let's keep that there for now. Okay, so we have our Prisma part done. Um, yes, show me how to do the API routes in NextJS. Do user registration, login to see the to-dos, add, mark as complete, and delete. Seems about right. You got your creds. Create, read, update, and delete. Yep. Okay. Run the following to install the dependencies. JSON Web Token, next auth. Oh, okay. Pretty advanced. I have no idea if any of these actually have any sort of vulnerabilities in them either. I'm just gonna take it for its word. Okay, so you have pages. So where's this gonna go? I don't have a lib folder. I sure as fuck don't have a pages folder. Oh, it just repeated my query to it. What the heck? Oh. Um, no, that's not what we wanted. Okay, so what we wanted here is we wanted to say, I don't have a pages folder that you mentioning. I do have a source app folder. Would be a sibling somewhere in there? Your project uses a source app directory. Then your API routes should reside in the source app API directory. Here's how to structure your source app directory for API routes. Okay, so you have source app API auth to dos. So I guess you just put it alongside the pages, is what it looks like to me. Um, Maybe I should have prefaced what my question was with the actual tree structure of my project. Let's just run tree and dot. Fuck, okay. Tree source. Yeah, this is all it really needs. Edit that. Needs to know about the errors here. Okay. Tell me GPT son. Alright, I see you are using NextJS app router, which organizes into. In the app router setup, API routes go inside the source app API folder. Okay, alright. That's fair enough. Let's take a look at that. Um, so if we go into this folder here, just do fuck. We'll just do auth. I'll do another one for to-dos. Makes sense because we're gonna say like split our application around that. Um, okay, so it does feel like Svelte.js here. You just end each one of them in route.ts for the actual logic. Huh. Okay. All right. Yeah, that's maybe that's why it's called like the app router setup. Because it just like you need everything as its own file and folder. Upsides and downsides to that, I guess it's in the eyes of the beholder here mostly. Uh, login route.ts because it just makes it so much more verbose than it needs to be. Is my only gripe with that. Route.ts, and then you have ID. And Svelte had something similar to this kind of idea as well. It does make it very like clearly like you can see like the each routes and like how they go down. Um, and the layout of your application pretty well. But it's so much more verbose. And then like here's what happens. Here's what happens. Is if I open this route.ts and I have this route.ts, thankfully like my ID tells me like this is login and this is register, but look how much smaller it could have been if it was just login.ts. Like it would be like this much compared to all that huge amount of like my tap space, my buffers that it's taking over. Yeah, that's kind of why I feel one way or the other about it is because of that. Okay. Um, why is it cap locked? Is that the syntax? Maybe it's the syntax. Okay. All right. I, I will not complain. I will just listen because this is mostly just meant for learning at the end of the day. Import Prisma, so that makes sense. We're gonna import Prisma from the root folder here. Sorry, I didn't get some water. There we go. Family is sick, so I've gotten a little bit of a cough, but I've been holding out pretty well, thankfully. Next response. I wonder what this is about from next server. Let's explore this. Let's see what this is about. Another one of these caps lock things. Oh, I hate that. Okay. Body is unknown. Extends response. Cookies, JSON, redirect, rewrite. Next. Oh, so this is what you sent back to it. Okay. Okay, that makes sense. Export async function. Very standard thing. Rec request. Uh, I never imported request. Guess that's just an implicit import with how this thing works. Yeah, I never. What the hell? Never imported that. Okay. Const email password equals await rec.json. Almost makes me wonder if I should be hashing it in the front end first. Yeah, I think I should be hashing it in the front end because otherwise you're sending the password over the wire unencrypted. Like it is encrypted with the TLS, but then you don't have all the benefits of actually being secure because if that connection is ever compromised, you're actually sending plain text over. Might be better just to hash it in the front end. Let me think about that. Hash password in front end or back end. What's the consensus on this? John already described the really very well using where should I hash them? You only hash them. You are vulnerable to a pass the hash attack. The reason the brand and attacker has already compromised your database from using those passwords. If you hash the passwords in the backend, an attacker first has to crack them to use your website. You hash on the front end. Yeah, let's see. Okay, that makes sense. It may not seem reasonable threat, but you should never trust any user supply data. Therefore, you should not assume that the client is doing the hashing properly. Okay, so basically it's meaning that if you had the hashing happening in the front end, somebody could have misdone the hash um, to get access to your backend into the database as well. Because you're trusting that that person had hashed it properly. But if you hash it on the back end, you always know that you hashed it correctly. So even if there was any sort of attack happening client side, it wouldn't reach your back end. That makes sense. Okay. Bcrypt versus script for hashing. Bcrypt is almost everything, like everything uses. There was also a other one for Argon 2 was another one. There's another one that a lot of people be using these days. Blake was another one. Um, this is actually what NixOS uses under the hood for figuring out the hashes of all your software. Is this Blake 3 cryptographic hash? Um, Pretty cool actually, algorithm wise. I've done SHA-256 and SHA-1 before, um, and MD5, but I've never tried Blake 3. Might do that in a future stream if you guys are interested in watching me make that. I don't think you can actually GPU accelerate it, but I might be wrong. Most hashing algorithms you can GPU accelerate. AES is one of them that benefits highly from because it's all matrix multiplication. Okay, so we have this done now. Let's go back to GPT-san. Give me the ways. Tell me how to do this. All right. So it makes sense if we don't have an email and we are not given a password either, that we want to send back this response to the front end. I know, yeah, ChatGPT, I get it that in some sense that you don't really need to think anymore if you use ChatGPT and it might like lead to some degradation in your skills. I'm mostly for infrastructure than front end and back end and full stack stuff, because it's more resilient to a lot of this stuff going on. So I don't really give a shit. But definitely, if you're doing this, um, why do I look like that? What do you mean? I look fine. I look like a m- Spanish hipster who is doing coding. I don't know what I don't know what you're on about there. Anyway, so we got let's so we got a email and a password, and then we're not going to tell them which one. I don't think we need to tell them which one, because this error isn't really going to be seen on the front end anyways. Um, I I don't know if a 400 is correct as a code to send back. We'll have to come back and change this, likely, but whatever. Okay, so we're gonna try to see if there's an existing user in the database first. So we'll just scan the database with the username to see if anything pops up. And if that value is non-null, meaning that there was something in the database, then we know that an existing user was in there. But if it's not, and it does come back null, then we know that we can actually hash the password on our backend and then send it into the front end for us. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, so find unique. Not really necessary to use find unique here. Reason being that we should never really have had any unique entries in here in the first place. If we take a look at our schema, we've already said that username should be unique. I think the reason that ChatGPT told us to use find unique here is because it'll result send back a singleton. Whereas if we had used find, it might return us back a array, and I guess it just wants to avoid doing that. Okay, so we got existing user. So we'll say if there is an existing user, um, we'll return a next response. What a cute. Okay. Thank you. User already exists. Yeah, that makes sense. And then we'll send back so this one definitely I don't think we should be sending back a 400. I think this should be a 409 conflict. I disagree with GPT. I know. Oof. Questioning the gods. Well, that's what I do. Hash password. Okay, so now we're gonna hash the password with the bcrypt. Oh, what is the second parameter doing here? Cannot find module? What do you mean? What do you mean? Is oh, types. Okay, that makes sense. It doesn't have the I guess it's not a type library. So I gotta do pm add at types.bcrypt. Okay. Pm add at types.bcrypt. Let's add the types for bcrypt in here. Okay. Let's quit out of this and come back in. Hopefully that'll fix it. Let's go back to routes. Seriously, hey. Cannot find declaration file for module. Implicitly has an any type. Um, bcrypt types. Node.js. Okay, here we go. So did I just like install the wrong one? Is there a separate bcrypt.js versus bcrypt? So what's bcrypt.js? Why would I do this? Why am I doing this? Everyday happy password. Okay, who's got more downloads? What's 1.2 million? 1.4 million. Um, but there's no typing with this, so how would you ever use this? Um, wouldn't they have JS doc installed on this? Like, wouldn't they have that enabled? Let's take a look. Module.exports bcrypt JS. Hmm. Okay, we'll come back to that. That's really weird. Because I do want to know what the second parameter here is doing this 10. Feels kind of weird just having a magic number in your code like that. All right, const user equals await prisma user create data email password hash. Okay, let's return next response. We'll give them a tool1 created code. Yeah, okay, makes sense. User ID. Man, Man, after learning so many like programming languages over the while, it's just been so confusing because like for example, something like this with like user ID, um, in JavaScript that you would always use like user ID with like the lowercase d afterwards. But in Golang, the actual Go format linter will yell at you if you don't put as a capital D for your ID. Um, which is really aggressive of it, but it just enforces that it wants you to specifically use um, capital letters for all the acronyms that you use in your code. Good and bad sides to that. It does make it a lot more uniform across everybody's code bases, which I can see. That's why I don't really put up a fight. Otherwise, I would be. Okay, so that's next response. .json, message created, user created. What else we got here? Prisma, loop Prisma. So let me create a new chat here. I'm gonna say, hey, chat GPT, I have this import, but it's saying that the types are not installed. What should I do? Yeah, I know that. Um, I don't think there is one. That's the thing. npm remove types bcrypt. Fuck. Bcrypt. npm add d types bcrypt. See, but this doesn't make sense. Why would you have types for bcrypt.js? That's so weird. Why? Ah, man. Anyway, yeah, that did it. That makes sense. Okay, so now it says cannot find module lib prisma. Maybe it's because it's lib. So if I remove that, well, is it gonna find that? No. Okay. Let's see what we can do here. Thanks. That worked. I'll add out this solution. Check path alias configuration. If you're using at alias for imports, make sure it's properly configured in your TS. Yeah, it is. It should be. This makes sense. Makes sense. Yup. Yup. What a blunder. Chess.com blunder for sure. Okay. I think I have to load the TS server again for it to come up. Really? Not again. Okay. Um, maybe it's because I have to run pnpm dlx generate or Prisma generate. Is that why? This doesn't make sense. I did that, still getting an error. Okay. ls la node modules pnpm at Prisma client. Yeah. Okay. Oh, it's leading slash maybe. Nope. All right, let's search. How to import Prisma into your project. Okay, sure. I don't really care. I don't care. Don't care. Okay, so it says I should be able to just straight up use Prisma generate. Prisma generate. Fuck. Liars. Um, I love your schema. Tags. Nope. Don't care. Funky. That was not useful. This same error. Okay, let's take that. And then let's do cat. Um, ts config. Grab the ts config and then toss it in there. Issue seems to be related that TypeScript is not resolving your custom alias paths properly. Let's address this step by step. Verify folder structure. Based on your configuration, at star maps to source, maps to Prisma. Verify. Answer yes. Yes. Okay. What are you on about? It's literally what I'm using. Um, okay. Import. Oh, this? Really? Interesting. What the fuck? Alright. Const Prisma equals Prisma client. What does this mean? Equals new Prisma client. Email does not exist. Oh, really? Um, okay, so this is the Prisma that we generated, right? Um, User with ID. I wonder, like, is this actually like our code that we created, or is this something else that we created? Um, let's see. To do, no, it is ours. Okay, this is ours. Why does it say that data is not in the type? Because I know that we had email in there. Um, oh, that's because we changed it to username. Flippin' heck, eh? Username. There we go. There we go. Okay, cool. That's the first step. Go back to here. Okay, so this is the way that we register for the program. Now we just need a way to actually log in. So if we go to our login step, it's going to be literally the same layout, I think. Let me just actually format this. Yeah. I think it's literally going to be the same like layout as this, but we just need to change this. It is going to be a post. It is going to be a username password. I'm going to say both of them still required for this. Mm, yeah, so this is the part where it's going to actually change out. So now we have to find that user in the database. So we're saying const user equals prisma dot user dot find unique, and then we need to do a where clause and then pass in the username. Okay, and then we'll say if not user. So if we didn't find a user in here, then we gotta start freaking out. I'll just close this and reopen that buffer. So if there's not a user by that name in the database, then there's a 404 not found that we will pass back. Because I don't think a 400 is necessarily correct in this sense. Um, Let me just quickly save this, close it, come back out. Okay, so um, so we're trying to find a username in there. So I think if like we'll just say user does not exist here, and then we'll just say 404. Then if the user does exist, then we have to check if the passwords are a match. So we say, yeah, exactly. Const is match equals await bcrypt. So this is where we're going to use that bcrypt library again. We're going to compare our passwords together. Um, and then user dot password. Now I bet you this is pretty. Why is this saying not on that object? What do you mean? It's literally on there. Okay, let's see. So if we take a look at the results from find unique, what does that actually return us here? It's giving back Prisma user payload. Yeah, so give me the password. What the hell? Okay, we'll come back to that. Anyway, if is not a match, then we return back a response that says, "Hey, you done fucked up, but." So error. Speaking of errors, error. Invalid credentials. And then we'll pass back a status 403, I think it should be. Um, HTTP 4xx 401. Okay. This is why I like using the colloquial names for these types of things instead of using numbers because nobody fucking remembers any of these numbers. Const token equals JWT. Okay, so we gotta import that JWT token thing. JWT from JSON web token. What is it saying here? Not find types. Types. God damn it, types. Okay. Um, npmjs.com packages types JSON web token. Ah, fantastic. There's no types exist for it. Apparently the package doesn't even exist. Oh, was I searching them? Okay. Now let's just put a add types at the front and see what we can get from there. Okay, there is types. Okay, great. pm as a dependency here, types, JSON web token. Great. Good, no more errors. JSON web token dot sign. Ah, there we go. We're getting some LSP heights from there. Okay, so we're gonna send back the user ID. I'm gonna hash that out. Um, Shoot secret as string expires expires in 7 days. Sure, why not? I will return back next response.json message. Great. Okay. So now let's get to this part here where it says that the password field does not exist on this. That doesn't make sense. And saying also the ID field doesn't exist on it either. That doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me because what else would it be returning? My only thought is, let's take a look at the LSP, what it gives us. Oh, that's why. Okay, okay. Gotcha. Should be in await. There we go. Okay, cool. Let's make another one of these. What is the package in Next.js? To alias your statuses with their colloquial names. Definitely spelled colloquial wrong, but whatever. Let's take a look. HTTP status codes, HTTP status codes. Why is there a breaking change on this? My man, you introduced a breaking change to something that can never actually break? How did you manage to fuck up that bad? Why, why would you need to do this? It's just Replace the underscores with spaces and then put the title on it. Oh, really? Okay. Okay. That makes sense. 1 second, I'm gonna come. Sorry about that. Okay. Um, HTTP status codes. npm install status code saved. Okay, sure. pnpm add. How much is this? What's the size of this? Bundle phobia. HTTP status codes. Okay, seems pretty small. Let's actually take a look to make sure that we're not like a fucking supply chain attack here. Very unlikely that we would. This is such a small thing, and there's not even like any commands to be like run, so man, I'm fucking paranoid. Like an npm is full of this grift that goes on here. Okay, utils function. Yep, makes sense. Utils. Okay, they got a mapping in here. Alright, yeah, seems safe enough. Alright. pnpm add. Yeah, let's do pnpm add http status codes. There we go. Cool. Import status from. There we go. And now we can actually replace these with status codes not found. I think that does make it clearer than to use the other ones because now you can actually clearly tell and you don't have to care about what the numbers are underneath um, because it's not application logic necessarily. I think this should be login successful should be an okay. Yeah. Okay, and let's go back to the other route.ts that we had. .ts to do's. Let's do that here. Import status codes from here. Oh, it was a salt. I still have to learn what salts mean, to be honest. I don't I've not ever learned that. And I feel kind of dumb for not knowing how salts actually work or what they do. Creative. Okay, that's that. Awesome. Oh, and there's this other one here. Let's chill this one out. Status codes not found. Cool. Amazing. So let's commit this. We're gonna say fix enable accessing generated Prisma ORM. Um, uh, be Oh, fuck it. Let's change it. Add precrypt, JSON, the web token, and HTTP status packages. Add logic for. No, let's add this one first. Add logic for registering users. Add logic for registering. I'm sorry, for logging in users. Hey, wait up, wait up, wait up, wait up. I just saw a 400 there. Gotcha. There we go. Status code's not the 400. Bad request. Yep. Actually, this other one should have been bad request too. Yeah. This was a mess up on my end. Okay, let's go rebase this commit for that. Bad request. There we go. Okay, and then let's merge that rebase. MC. What? M. MC. Okay, I'll delete that. Okay, cool. All right, let's push all those changes up. Okay, so that concludes the user database model stuff. Now we need to do something similar for the to-do one. Um, so if we go back to our web application here, um, this is what it's looking like right now. So page.tsx looks like this. And we need to clock into that API. Um, guys, so I think we can find like keep the layout the same. I don't actually care that much about the layout, because I can change anything I want in the page itself with Tailwind. Um, I don't think I'm going to be touching the schema anymore. One thing we might want to do first is implement the to-do stuff here, and start a little bit of that work. So let's do control split. Let's split it across the panes here. Okay. So yeah, we'll need to import our Prisma client again, and we'll need to import next response again. What the fuck's going on upstairs? Um, and we'll do const Prisma equals Prisma client, and that needs to be new. Cool. Export async function. Okay, so this is the route for ID route. So what we're going to be doing here is we should have, I think, delete requests come in. Is that allowed? I don't know. This is now where I get to learn about how Next.js works. So we have our delete endpoint, add ability to delete individual to-dos. And then we need another one here, export async. Um, Put for updating it. I wonder, is it put or patch? Difference between put and patch request. I'm pretty sure it's actually patch. Yeah, it's patch. Um, Puts for something else. So we have a to do here. Add ability to modify state of to do. So cool. Yeah, so we have, sorry, I just started thinking about how we're going to implement the front end. Um, okay, so that will take care of that. We need a delete and a patch, and then we need a get for all the to-dos and a create, which is a post. Okay, so this one will be similar to the other one here. So for this one we'll have get, and this one will have post. Add ability to create new to do. Add ability to get all to do. Cool. Fantastico. Later we can actually test this out. I don't have Postman installed. I think I have Insomnia. There we go. Okay, so let's delete that. What are we gonna call this? To do app. Next.js to do app. Okay, there we go. And then here we can try our endpoint testing. So we can toss that into there. And we'll just name this one get all to dos. Get all to dos. I'll have another one in there for. Hey, thanks, man. Yeah, no worries. Is it the K track that you're working on right now? Hope you're having a good evening too. So, if we have this new request coming in here, um, so this one will be a get. This one will be a post. So create to do. I'm not gonna actually like. I think I'm gonna make this all capitalized because it's easier for me to understand what's going on. Um, in terms of CRUD, read all to dos. Yeah, yeah, I think this makes a lot more sense to me. Because this is effectively just a CRUD app. So create, read. And then we'll have another one in here for we'll create another endpoint in here just to say, so this is a get, this is going to be those. Yes, sir. Nice. Is she going in uh for the winter? Or are you gonna keep her out? 'Cause I thought you had put her back in for this winter time here. Okay. So we are created to do. How do I change this? So this should be okay. So that's get create should be a post, and then this should be a patch, and this is going to be um update. What are we saying? Update. Update to do status. Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. My mom's giving me her car, by the way. Hopefully by the end of this week, I'll finally have my own car to drive around in a little bit. So I'm pretty excited about that. Um, we should definitely go get some coffee sometime. She's getting a RAV4 from the dealership, so yeah. I guess I get the old car because just in case to have something as a backup, and probably it's gonna go back to them in a while whenever things turn up for me. But yeah, it'll be pretty nice. Might have to ask you for some questions on that actually, because there are some like sounds that come out of it, with like the air conditioning and all that. It just makes like some squeaking sound, and I'm pretty sure that's just literally I just need to lube out the actual fans that the AC is using, because I know that it changes like the frequency based on that. Yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly. And there was actually a thing that I saw recently. It was like list of cars or like m models never to buy. And so there's like a bunch of like versions of Ford and like Kias and all that. Toyota's never on that list. It's like 400 different types of cars, not a single Toyota. Yeah, it's pretty good car. Like the Japanese. Lives long and it's pretty quiet. Okay, so we got update to do status here. Um, and then we need to delete. So this needs to be a delete request. And then this will be a uh, delete to do. Okay. Oh, what the hell? Didn't update the name. Delete to do. Okay, and then we'll just remove this from there. Great. We'll put that down there. Cool. Um, so that takes care of all that. So this will all be under localhost 3000. Um, I think it's just totally fine just to keep it as local 33,000 because I've clearly marked this as something that is specific to the Next.js app. So I don't need to tell it anything else. And then we'll just need to say what the routes are. So I need to put an ID here thing. Um, yeah, right? Yeah, yeah, for sure. Okay, so we have the API and then to the ID of the to-do. I think that's what we were telling GPT to tell us to somewhere in here. GPT told us to do it like that. API to-dos. Okay. Yeah, yeah, that's right. Because this is under the to-dos route. Okay, yeah. So we have API to-dos and then the number of the to-do and then delete. So this will be like something like one. Cool. And then update to-do status will be similar to that. We have HTTPS. Oh, I don't even know if it's HTTPS or HTTP. Let me check. It is HTTPS. Good for it. Fucking hell, eh? Alright. They've come a long way. HTTPS localhost 3000 API to do patch one, read all to dos. Okay, so this is similar to the other one, 3000, but instead of this time, we don't have anything else under that route. API to dos. So we just get all to dos, and then this one is similar to that. HTTPS localhost 3000 API to dos. Okay. And then the login stuff. So both of these are going to be post requests for ourselves. So this is going to be, I don't even know if this is actually like technically CRUD anyways. Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily CRUD. It's localhost 3000 API login, and this will just be um, login, and then we'll have another one which is logout, or sorry, register. Wait, did I even put a logout in here? I don't think I did. I'll have to come back to that because that might be useful. Hey, maybe people want to log out. Um, but we got a register route too. So you have login and then register. So this is the one that I need here is to duplicate this, and then we'll do that register. Okay. Yeah, makes sense. Drop those in there. Cool. And then we just need to change this to register. Cool. All right, so that's running. And we have our API set up with our Postgres. Sorry, we don't have the Postgres yet, so that's what we need to do next. We need to add Postgres into here. Um, Add the ability. Okay, how do we want to run this? I do want to run this as Docker eventually, so I'm going to do a compose.yaml here. Yeah, and then we'll definitely also need a Docker file for. Actually, I'm gonna do a little switcheroo. I'm gonna call it a container file. Um, no difference. It's just more agnostic to call it a container file, I think. Um, Basically, back then, maybe like a year ago, they changed it out so that you don't need to use Docker for everything. So Docker Compose is no longer needed. And the most recent versions of Docker and whatnot now have the ability for you to use compose.yaml. And that was part of them joining the Linux Foundation and the CNCF because they wanted to make Docker free for all at some ability instead of like branching it off and doing like what Apple and Android and all that did. They wanted to consolidate it all together. So they came up with that specification. And it just so happened that it's easier for them because it basically means that they are the de facto standard. So they have a huge advantage. Um, they don't have to remake everything, whereas everybody else kind of had to conform to their specs. So anyway, long-winded answer why we're using container file instead of Docker file. It's just a move towards there. I think a lot of people will still be using Docker files, and Docker is very common. I do think that they will see an eventual shift over to containers in the future. It's just the way things go. Markets change like that. And in the grand scheme of things, of Trump fucking up the US right now, this doesn't actually matter all that fucking much. Okay, let's take a look. So we got our delete and we got our patch. Um, and register. So I think we just need to now implement those two routes. No, it's asking here. Um, you can add middleware to it. Yeah, so we might want to use some level of middleware The middleware, what it'll be doing is exactly what it sounds like. It stands between the front end and the back end to do a level of like a stack of operations before your stuff ever comes back around. So in our case here, the middleware, what it's doing is taking a look at the authorization header, and then it's going to take a look to confirm that the authorization header is like using the same JavaScript web token that we told it to use. Like, is it a correct token that we've issued? And if it's not, then we can block people because we know that they don't have like the authorization to use the endpoints as we wanted. Um, it's not strictly necessary. Um, we can use it. I don't think I'm going to be using middleware here. I don't think there's any point in making this more complicated than it needs to be. Again, this is just a preliminary thing that I'm be working on for next week. So when I get started on some of that, I have something to go off of for that other web application that I'll be working on next week, using like blockchain and stuff like that. I'm pretty excited for that. Okay, so we have delete here, we have route, get. Okay. As always, now, yeah, so that's the thing. Um, middleware will make it so that we don't have to use uh this stuff in between. Let me just ask the other instance of GPT about this. Um, okay. Hey, GPT-san. GPT sayonara. What is the point of middleware? Does it mean I can remove the parts here where I'm doing authorization checking? Middleware in an application is a function that sits between the incoming request and the final request handler, route handler. It allows you to pre-process requests before you reach your application route handlers, enabling functionality like authentication, authorization, logging, rate limiting, request transformation, and cores. Can you remove authorization? Yes. If you move the authorization to the middleware, you can remove authenticate user calls from your route handlers. Instead of manually checking authentication, middleware can intercept and the request and determine. Okay, but then what happens for my other routes? Yeah, what happens to my other routes that I want there? Hmm. Let me just quickly pull that up for it. ChatGPT.com. Fucking DeepSeek. Okay, let's log in. Come on, blood. Let me log in here. Fuck. All right, whatever. Um, I'll just copy paste this into the next one. Copy, and then let's do here. Let's go paste example middleware. So this is my example middleware that I'm going to be giving you, and you let me know if this is valid or not, because I don't think it would be. Because if we have our login routes and we have our register route, how can we get to them if it's doing a check for authorization prior? We have to only put authorization and authentication on some of the routes, not all of the routes. I think that's the most critical part of all this. Um, okay, let's see. If you apply authentication as middleware, you don't need to actually call it right inside the handler. Create a middleware file. Okay. Um, it'll do it with our JWT token. Take a look at the headers, find the X user ID headers, and then export that. Okay, so it runs this on a select set a paths that you tell it to run on. That makes sense. So I can just tell it to match against the ones that I actually wanted to do the authorization checking on, which is what I would want. Okay, cool. Cool, that makes exact sense. All right. Um, where did they say that this file would be located? Let me just ask here. Where would middleware.ts live? Okay, so it's at the top of the package here. Middleware.ts. Oh, got a message here. Hmm, okay. Um, what? If you place it inside of another folder, NextJS won't recognize it automatically. Okay. Huh. But then how do you tell it that you only... That doesn't make sense. There must be some sort of other configuration going on here. Because what if I wanted multiple middlewares? You know? Okay. Let's not bitch around. Let's just listen to it and move on. There we go. We'll use catch unexpected any. Um, okay. First of all, rude. Second of all, user is going to be that. Yeah, okay. And the thing is, I don't really understand this part here. What is it trying to say? Next.js doesn't allow modifying recs and use headers. Okay, define this. Property user ID. Yeah, because if you use verify on this, verify will always put back a string. So what the fuck is it going on about here? Request.set user. Yeah, yeah. So why would I use the other one? All right, so let's take a look at JWT payload. JWT payload has a key string array to any issues. GT. I have no fucking idea what any of that means. Whoops. Guess I should have listened in class. Whatever. Um, I don't. I don't know how to use this. If auth header, next response unauthorized. Token auth header split. Verify. Request headers. New headers. Request headers set. User. Net request headers. Hmm. Okay. Remove authorization checks. Um, JWT verify returns a string JWT payload type. What would I use there? I can't necessarily use it in the set body because of the union type. You're absolutely right. JWT returns either a string, which means you need to handle type safely before setting the X user ID header. Use a type assertion or a type guard. You can use an object. You need to ensure its type and not a string. Extract the user ID safely. But there's no user ID, you stupid fucker. But there is no user ID parameter on uh the JWT payload type. You're absolutely right. So why did you say that? Oh my god. This is the shit you pay for when you use this. Modify your JWT. It's not mine, you cunt. This guy's crazy. Nuts. Alright, we need to just show it how we're actually doing the registrations, because I think this is where it's getting confused on. Let's do login.route. This is how the login was implemented. Oh, seriously? You don't say. Okay, that kind of makes sense. So is it just like an encryption algorithm that you can just pull out anything you want out of it and you can just use it? Because I've never used JWTs all that much, so I'm pretty in the dark on how this works. So maybe that's what this payload part here is supposed to mean, is that this is what's getting signed into that JWT so that we can pull it out later with our token. So we're basically saying, hey, use our token to like encrypt this and then unencrypt this because only us, like only we have access to this secret that would be used to like modify anything in there. Okay, that makes sense. Okay. So then in this case, then we just need to go up here and then it's just define that interface for ourselves. And so we say something like custom JWT payload extends the jwt.payload class, and then we're just going to add user ID number into here. And then now that we have that, we can just cast this out to as custom JWT type, and then now we can access the user ID on this type. Fat motherfucker. As string. What is it saying? Maybe a mistake because nothing sufficiently. Yeah, so what? Um, to string, decoded to string. Oh, okay, that makes sense. To string. It's been a long time since I've used JavaScript, so that makes sense. Okay, and then we'll use our HTTP status codes library. So we'll import status codes in. Now that I already have it imported, and then we'll use this to say status codes unauthorized, and then status code unauthorized here. Great. Okay, that makes sense. Um, Now API handlers can use it. Perfect. Yeah, so that makes sense. So I was wrong before. I said that um, you don't necessarily need to use um, middleware, but in this case, it actually does make sense because it makes it so that we don't need to do the authorization every time for those routes. We can hand that off to the middleware, and then we can remove a lot of like this repeated code from our code base, and it's already integrated in. The other way would have been if we didn't have this, that we'd have to make a custom function and then always call that custom function from all of our routes. And then if we ever forgot, well, now we're fucking toast. But if we put it in the middleware, then we're totally safe from this in the future. That actually works out really, really well. Okay, so we got a, so now we just need to do our four other routes here. Perfect. Perfect. Yeah, so it's even giving us like some hints here that later on, because the middleware already did the search into the database, or sorry, it got the user ID from it, we can use that JWT user ID to figure out the rest of what we need here, um, which is pretty sick. It means that the users never have access to what their user ID is, I think, because we're managing that through the JWT token. So that's how they log in. And that makes sense because if anybody ever caught that, then they would have access to the account for 7 days before that web token expires. So they basically trade in their login information to get this web token, which is basically like a temporary pass, like a concert ticket pass. And then now they don't ever need to ask questions. But if somebody else takes that pass, we're not going to take it too, like, we're not going to enforce it too hardly. We just need to make sure that that person, like, had a pass to come in. Okay, cool. Cool. You know, wanted to learn JWT stuff, so I guess I am learning it. All right, so let's do patch here first. Let's do const user ID equals rec headers get x user ID. And this X user ID stuff, so anything prefixed with X basically means to the browser, pass it along. This is maybe a header that is in like pre-testing, and because of that, don't really vet it out. Because all other headers usually get vetted out by the browser. But a lot of developers realize that you can actually use these X dash headers to basically circumvent that. So you just say X dash and make it very clear that to the browser that this is like an application level header so you can pass things through. Pretty cool. Okay, so it doesn't have it. Then we say unauthorized. Oh god, I'm gonna cough. 1 sec. Okay. You know, it's actually pretty shocking that OBS is running here at like 6,000 kilobits per second, and it's only using like 4.5% of my CPU. And these like Mac CPUs are just built different, I swear. It's kind of nuts, actually, how efficient and good they are. Okay, so if we don't have that header in there, then we know someone's trying to fuck around with our system because there's no way that they should have gotten to that point. So we'll give them a nice old kind unauthorized response back. And like you might say like, hey, like wasn't the whole point wasn't like the whole point of this not so that you didn't have to look into your database and like do the authorization? Yes, but we're not going into the database here. All I'm doing is I'm saying, is this like user ID set? Because that's what the middleware should have given us. Um, yeah, you don't really need to check it at this point, I guess. But otherwise, if you didn't have it checked, then you would never know that if someone had just sent it to you directly or not. Also means that you have to check the JWT token again to get the user's ID. And I don't want to do that. All right, so once we get it and we're doing the delete request here, we're now just going, sorry, I'm gonna move this over. So we're gonna copy paste this up into here. So once we've checked that the user ID is correct, we're gonna do a await to Prisma to do on the to do a delete, and then for the args we need to say basically that query language that Prisma uses, which is number params ID, and then user ID is just convert that into number user ID. And then we basically need to say here in the delete request, um, we need to change that to params, and then we need to define the param types on that. ID. Why are you bitching about it? Yeah, why would I? Oh, it's because it didn't close it out. There we go. Okay, cool. So that's that. Now we've deleted it from the database, and now we just need to send back a 200 response code just to let you know that we deleted it. So the Next.js response, and I'll say message, and we'll say to do deleted. At the end for the status here message, say status codes. Okay, things proceeded as we expected. In the patch here, we will again need to take a look and find that params here. So we'll swap this out real quick with the other one. So the patch. So now that we got the ID from the route, we'll do an await Prisma to do, and then we want to do an update on that database. And then we have our clause here to actually search into it. So we say ID is number params.id, and then user ID is number user ID. Argument of type is not assignable to prop. Fuck off. What do you mean? Oh, it's wanting the data. Okay, gotcha. Gotcha, fam. Alright, and then we just set the completed to true. Great. And then, based on the answer from that, we can then let people know what happened on the database side of things. So here we say message, uh, update it to do, and then status equals 200. Const updated to do equals await. Fan fucking tastic. Okay, so that's almost most of our backend completed. Now we just have 2 more routes here to do. Just want to get all of them here. So we're gonna do Prisma to do um, find many. And then we're gonna do where um, user ID. I think that makes sense. Just confirm those. Where user ID. There we go, where user ID equals number, user ID. There we go. And then once we get that, what does it say? Cannot find name. Yeah, that makes sense. So we gotta pull that in. There we go. And then here we have to pass back the to-dos. And then we say const to-dos equals. So that should be that. And then get will be supposedly something similar to that. I think it's just basically go and insert into the database. So it almost looks identical to the previous one. Most of this stuff is just like single line queries into the database. So for here, I think it's a little bit different because for this one, we actually do need a body. So we need to extract some things out from the body. Yeah, so we need to extract some things out of the body here. Yeah, there we go. So we got to get a title from it. Yeah, that makes sense. So after we get that out, then we basically do const title, pull it out from the request JSON. And then once we get the title, and then if the title is not set, if the title wasn't in there, we just respond with a bad request response. So we just tell them, hey, like, title, so we say error, uh, title is required. And then we just send back the status that have a bad request. And then once that's done, we'll just say const to do equals await Prisma to do create. So we want to create one, and then now we just pass in all the data that Prisma requires. So for this one, it'll be our title. So we need to pass in the title, and then the user ID. We already have the user ID from before. We just need to cast that into a number. So we say user ID, user ID. Okay, so that's our to do, and then we basically just pass that back as the response to the front end. Okay, so that's pretty much our entire backend database done. Um, so the only thing that's left now is to hook this up to the front end and finish up with that. But let's actually start doing some of this and adding some of this to our repository here. So I'm just gonna do a feat, add, um, add middleware for authentication. Use sets the X user ID header to verify that a user is authorized. So most importantly with this, we're doing this in the backend. So the middleware runs in the backend. So Um, we're not unsigning the JavaScript web token on their end. So we still have access to everything, and it's all localized. So unless our server gets compromised, then there's nothing to worry about that they're going to take control of our users and start messing around in the database. The user just has to send in their JavaScript web token that expires after a certain while, and then we just unencrypt that with our secret, and then we're off to the races. So that works out really well. Okay, so then let's add here into our to-dos. So I'm going to say feat add routes for to-dos. And in here, this is going to be, yeah, add routes to create and get create a to-do and get all to-dos. And then this one will be a similar message to that. So this will be feat add routes to update and delete any single to do. Okay, so those are our 2 or 3 commits that we make to our repo. One thing I want to add into here is a prettier runtime configuration. Because I don't quite like the formatting that's going on right now. Uh, where the hell did I go? There we go. Okay, so in here we'll say semi. Um, we'll say yes, we always want semicolons. Um, tab width is 2. Okay, it's already set to 2. And then, yeah, we'll do that for now. I don't think we need prose wrapping, but I'll enable it for now as well. That's mostly for our README that we're going to be doing. So prose wrapping basically looks like this. So if I had a README here, and let's say I had lorem, let me just do a space here, and then grab this from the start to the end. If I had lorem and I did all this, right? Like that's a lot of lorem. Now the problem is that um, this is like really uncomfortable to read, right? So one thing I learned is you can have prose wrapping, and prose wrapping will automatically like cut it off at that prose wrap amount. So usually by standard it's 80 like line characters. So the cool thing about Markdown is that as long as there's not a empty line between this is all technically the same paragraph, and it will be rendered as the same paragraph. So that's what the prose wrapping there is for. So we'll just add that in there. I was mostly just worried about this semicolon thing, and then I also want to add double. Where's the quotes? Oh, just say single quotes to false, because I don't like single quotes in my code. Okay, and then we just do pm dlx prettier, and then just run it in our source directory. And then we just need to tell it to actually write it to the files. Okay, so it edited those files for us. Okay, what did it actually do? Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so we'll just do here char add prettier runtime configuration, and then we'll do another one here to say chore. Uh, or I should say this is a style thing. So we'll say style run prettier on routes. Okay, cool. Awesome. So now we have to figure out how to actually hit these endpoints from the front end. Um, I wonder if there's like a components that you can do in Next.js here to do the pages and all that. What it looks like to me is that it's just pure React. So if this is a page.tsx, can I create components here, or do I need to put the components into a different library? That's what I'm wondering right now. Um, okay, so we did all this. Actually, yeah, we should probably test out these routes. Maybe that's probably a better thing to do than jumping the gun here. So if we go to our container file or compose YAML, we need to do our Docker things here. So we'll do services. Um, let's take a look at the compose spec. I forget it off the top of my head. Compose spec. It was services. You fuck. All right, services. And then this is going to be database. Um, and then the image we'll put as Postgres. Is it actually Postgres though? Postgres Docker image. PostgreSQL. Okay, so they're building it on Debian, but they do have some Alpine ones here. So I think probably what I'll do, just because this is good practice, and if anybody ever looks at this again, and if like there's any employers ever looking at this, I do want them to use and see that I'm doing proper programming practices. Um, I think I'll probably just end up using like the specific version like this one, like 17.2 dash Alpine 3.21. that freezes it, and it very clearly tells you like what version of each you're using. So I think right now I'll just do that. 17.2 uh, Alpine 3.21. And just to make sure that that actually works, we're gonna run this on our machine. So let's do docker pull. What? Docker pull. It's being killed. Why is it being killed? Docker pull. Why is our Docker being killed? That's weird. I've never seen that before. Docker images? Docker's just been killed. Hmm. Stop. There's no reason this should be being killed. No. Okay. That time sucks. I guess let's kill Docker and bring it back up. Okay. It might be because of OBS. I don't know. I don't know why it would be because of OBS, but that's the only software I've recently installed on here that would have caused something like that to happen. Um, but yeah, so basically what we're going to be doing is we're just going to be adding in um, Postgres into this via that config. And so I'll probably just add here as well our backend. And I don't think with Next.js there is um, I don't think there's any place where you need to tell it, um, like any front end, if I can collect my thoughts. I don't think there's a front end that you need to tell it about, so I think we're fine here. Okay, and then we have our M file here. So PostgreSQL, John Doe, yeah, whatever. Um, so we can have a .m file here. I wonder if we need it just as a .m file, or if we could have it as something else. Because I wonder if the Postgres database will need its own M file to use. Because I'd rather not put like the M file, like the environment variables themselves into here. I'm gonna probably use like something like this to do it, source it in like that with the M file. But we can come back to that later. And this is just telling us that for the backend, we're gonna be making our own backend um, from scratch. So from here, we can use from Node.js. That's another one that we need to get started on. Is it just Node? Probably just Node. Yeah. Similarly, for this one, for Node, I will end up using this one here, 3.26. So from Node version 23 points, actually I should be using 22.11-0 because that's what I'm currently using for this project, and I don't want to go into any more headache than I need to. Okay, so let's do 22.11.0. It's not there, huh? Maybe it's just not on this front page here. Oh no, it's because it's updated here to 22.13, so they don't even care about it. Okay, that's fine. We'll do 22.11.0, and then we'll just take a look at what was the latest Alpine build with that. So we do have an Alpine 20 for that, so we'll just use this on here. Okay, and that'll take care of that. Now, I could technically use a hash for this. That's one of the things that comes up with Docker images. Because I'm very like aware of the supply chain attacks that go on these days. One of the things that can apply with like these Docker images is that because these are just tags, technically anybody with access to the account or even themselves in the future can overwrite those tags and your builds don't become reproducible. So what you can do here, and there's a way like Docker SHA, you can find the SHA like the SHA 256 of like the digest of your image, and you can actually reference the Docker image that you want to be using from that, so that if it ever does change in the future, you know that it's been changed. And um, I don't know if it like enforces that or if it just also searches for it, but at the very least that you know that the base layer that you're using is safe. And like a lot of things that people will use later on, like this is what I use when I do like a lot of my Golang backends, is I will build everything in like a standard Go like way with like Debian and all that, and I'll compile it into Golang, and then I will use a Scratch image, and then now it's one single layer for my entire Docker image. So I can get down to like 2 MB Docker images running, which is pretty cool. And honestly, the better way to do it. It's also why I've been moving away from Python and all that to Golang and just generally Nix in general is because I would rather have these smaller Docker images working rather than these big ones. As I digress. Are you guys interested in learning more about Docker, or do you want to see me continue with just the development of this full stack app? Let me know. Um, I think I'm gonna mostly just keep working on this unless people are interested. I do have a lot of information on Docker if you are interested in learning about that though. Okay, so we have our container file here. Um, I'll probably just do run pmpmi frozen install. I think it is. I think that's the way that you do it. Pnpm frozen install. So you have pnpm install. You have recursive installs. Yeah, here we go. Frozen log file. That's what it's called. This will won't change the log file when it's running, which is what you want in a build. And then for the command that we run on this, I think it's after that we will run pnpm build. Um, and then that dist folder is what we need to serve up after. Let's actually just run pnpm build to make sure that it works. Great. Great. That's what happens when you don't validate as you're developing. Okay, type error route idle route as an invalid delete export. Type params is not valid for the function's second argument. Oh, it's because I have a semicolon in there. Okay, ID. Okay, let's go here. Wait, it's capped out of its mind. What is it talking about? Params? Am I am I blind? Definitely does not have that there. Okay, whatever. Maybe I'm just tired. Okay, let's go back here and we'll just ask GPT what the hell is up with this. I don't really give a shit. Um, hey, GPT-san, tell me what's wrong. What's wrong with this? All right, I will put that in there. I will grab that, and then we will just copy paste this into there. Copy and paste. So what's wrong here? The issue in your code is with it. Oh, seriously? Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, for those of you just tuning in right now, this is actually one of my first times of using NextJS, so I have no clue what I'm doing here. Um, but that's the whole point, is to learn. However, your current destructures directly. This is not valid and expects context as a second argument. So then if we modify that to context, then that just means that we use context.params.id. Okay, Kyle. Cool. Context.params.id. Let me just do a similar thing to here. It's interesting that it doesn't let you destructure the params like that. Why would you not be able to do that? Feels like something weird would be up if that was. What do you mean? Motherfucker. There is literally no such thing. Um, type params. It's still giving me that error though. Okay. But it's not anywhere in my code base, so I don't know what it's going on about. I've definitely have removed this before. Fix the issue. NextJS app router, yeah, that's what we're using. Route handlers must conform to the expected function signature. The second argument should be explicitly typed using next request and next API context. I don't know what that means. Solution. Use next request and next API context. That makes no sense. Does anybody know what this means? I really don't. Will it even run at the moment? pm dev. Or will this complain too? Huh. Why does it build, but it doesn't? Sorry, why does it run but it doesn't build? It's very suspect. Okay. Alright, let's change this to refactor. Use context instead of destructuring input to route. We'll just do that. Yeah. All right. Okay, that makes sense. And you were completely unhelpful. Fucking 4.40. That's why you got dunked on by DeepSeek. Sorry, that was uncalled for. I'm gonna made it killer money on that stock though. 20% down one day. What a fantastic buy opportunity. I don't know if you guys heard, but Nvidia just went down like 20% yesterday. Was it like 18? Something like that. 18% just wiped out. Like $1 trillion of market cap just wiped out in a single day because of like DeepSeek that came out a week ago. And it's all because of these boomer old ass men who only read the news over the weekend. And once they saw the news about DeepSeek, they all got freaked out and then asked people to like pull out their money out of Nvidia. And then everybody else just clobbered in and then dumped the stock. And then overnight, you could see everybody on Robinhood just trading it back up. All the young people on Robinhood just trading it back up. It's like back like 10% today. So you can just easily like fucking put a 10% interest on anything that you owned, which is pretty nice actually. Um, I was very tempted to buy futures on Nvidia because I was almost certain that it was going to go back up. But I don't do options, so I'm a little pussy, but that's okay. Maybe one day. Maybe one day when I have enough money to fuck around and all that. Okay, so we'll move that, move that. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna work on this next week. I think I'm done for today. It's been a good stream. Um, Thanks, guys, for coming around and having fun and checking it out. I have another stream coming up on uh, Thursday, which is basically just chatting. I don't really have a super like a niche plan for it yet, so if you want to come with some ideas, that'd be great. It'll just basically me just like talking a little bit and maybe giving you some ideas on like current events and all that. Because I've been reading a lot. And then on Saturday, I've canceled it this Saturday, but next Saturday, I'll be doing a little bit of blogging and I will be updating my blog website. Um, so it'll be a little bit of coding there and then a little bit of writing, and I'd love to share that with you all to just see how that kind of works. Um, but yeah, good stuff. Thanks again for coming around, and see you guys on Thursday, hopefully. Cheers.